All right. Yesterday I spent a very long time doing something that is so nerdy I may never be the same. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I'm unemployed, and so I spent 12 hours yesterday just being a kid. Except I think I am destined for an office job because I made a spreadsheet. This is every single character ever introduced in the MCU with like a major role. And it's sorted by what they're doing or what they were last seen doing. So as you can see, Clint Barton and Janet Van Dyne, I set them as retired. I could probably also put Hank Pym as retired. Um, but I'm pretty sure those are the only two who are like explicitly they have retired. Here's all the heroes and villains who are currently alive and on Earth, so we know where they are. Here's all the heroes and villains that are alive, but they are not on Earth, aka off-world is what I'm calling them. So we have people like Erisham the Judge from Eternals, or These Eternals, or the Guardians of the Galaxy are off-world. And then we also have Mantis, and then Red Skull, who's still alive, but we have not seen him return to Earth. But the Soul Stone was returned, so he probably is still over on Vormir. That's weird. Are the Infinity Stones, they've been put back, so someone else could just go get them. But Red Skull's over there. And then we have people who are not in our universe right now. Not in our universe, okay? So we have Monica Rambeau, who, in the post-credit scene of the Marvels, was trapped in the X-Men universe. We have Stephen Strange, who was taken by Clea to go deal with a incursion, whatever that means. We have Sylvie, who is somewhere in another universe. I have her faction set as McDonald's because she was seen working there, and I thought that was funny. Then we also have Loki from the Loki TV series. Who's the Endgame Loki who stole the Tesseract? I made a distinction because Loki in the MCU is dead. And then B15, who's I think she's known as like, I don't remember her real name, but she is like the in charge of the TVA now. And then we have Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, who appeared in the post-credit scene of Morbius, and that's why he's off universe. But he could be back. And then people whose whereabouts are completely unknown, Vision Jarvis, he just kind of left off. He's kind of left at the end of WandaVision to go somewhere. He could go anywhere. He's a robot. We don't know. Bruce Banner, actually, we do know where he went. He's in psychiatric care. But Peter Parker, spoilers for Brand New Day, in the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Brand New Day, it was a Spidey tracker, and then it had him appearing in somewhere in space. Where? Don't know. But he's somewhere. And then Galactus and Silver Surfer both sent away to very far away from Earth in the 828 universe, which is the Fantastic Four universe. We don't know where they are. They could be anywhere. Droga, at the end of the Marvels, Valkyrie took Droga, leader of the Skrulls, and his people to go find a new home. Where is that? Don't know. Emil Blonsky. We don't know where he is because at the big fight at the end of She-Hulk, she changed the ending, and Abomination just kind of vanished. We don't know where he is. At the end of Miss Marvel, Cameron disappeared through a hole. I think he went to Pakistan, but that hole could have gone anywhere. We don't know. Jorani in Eyes of Wakanda, aka the Iron Fist, appeared for one episode, and then went back to wherever she's from. We know she's from the future, and that's it. We know that's where she is. And now we have all the characters who are imprisoned in some way. I have them set as incarcerated. Jirani, Cersei, Kingo were all... Jirani, Cersei, Kingo, Fastos... Or no, not Jirani. Sorry. Cersei, Kingo, Fastos were all taken by Arishem the Judge at the end of Eternals. And they are in his custody to be judged on whether or not they should live, or whether the people of Earth should live. Matt Gargan is the Scorpion. Last we saw of him, he was whipped to a wall by Spider-Man. And what we know about Tombstone is just one scene where he held Spider-Man up, and then Spider-Man beat him, and he's in jail now. Will Stryker is a character from Luke Cage. He is in jail. Seth Volker, who is Giancarlo Esposito's character. We have Justin Hammer, who was in Iron Man 2. Trish Walker from Jessica Jones, but last appeared in The Defenders. Davos from Iron Fist is in jail. High Evolutionary from Guardians 3. He is on Nowhere. He's incarcerated on Nowhere. Baron Zemo is back in jail. Sam Stearns is in jail with Thaddeus Ross. And then Mr. Paradox is in custody of the TVA. That's what we know. So those are all the people in jail. And then we have people who are just on their homeworld. So Collector and Nebula are both on Nowhere. Grandmaster is on Sakaar. Zeus and Hercules are in Omnipotent City. And then Yon-Rogg is on the Kree planet, wherever they're from. And then we have people who are in their home universe, who are alive, and we know generally that they are where they're from in their home universe. So we saw the Fantastic Four. They won. We saw the Fantastic Four win. And so they're on their home universe. Uatu the Watcher showed up in I Am Groot just to watch. That's what he does. But we know he's in his, like, not universe, but his, like, multiversal area. That's where he is. So Franklin Richard, Rupert Elder, who was Mole Man. He was sort of an anti-hero. I have him listed as that. Eddie Brock, who appeared in the post-credit scene of No Way Home. He was supposedly in the Marvel Universe for a few minutes. And then he's back in the Venom-verse. Then also in No Way Home, this is Amazing Spider-Man. This is Tobey Maguire, and all his respective villains are back in their universe. This is Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus. I believe this is Sandman, and this is the Lizard, and this is Electro. They're all back in their universes. And then we have Victor Von Doom, who we've only seen him once, but he is in his home universe, last we saw. Eric Brooks. That's Blade. This is Multiverse Blade. This is from this Earth is the Blade movie. So we saw every one of these people go back to their movies. This is Daredevil movie. This is Mobius from Loki. His name is Mobius M. Mobius. I just said Mobius. But I believe last we saw of him, he was back in his universe where he originated as Variant. I could be wrong, though. So this is Maria Rambeau. And I actually just made up this distinction for this universe that she ended up in at the end of the Marvels. I'll get back to it. But Wade Wilson is back on Earth 10,005, which is the Fox X-Men. That's where he is, but I've set his distinction as home universe because they've established that that's where his home is now. The TVA is allowing that. But he is from this distinction, which is TRN 1400, and Remy LeBeau Gambit is from TRN 1401. This is the canceled Gambit movie universe. And the reason that they have TRN is because TRN stands for something, which means like temporary universe number. I don't know what R is, but temporary registration number, we'll call it that. And so the TRN for Wolverine is set to 1 before Remy LeBeau, because Wolverine is introduced before Remy LeBeau. So 1400, 1401. With that logic, the multiverse presented directly before Deadpool and Wolverine was the Marvels. So, since we aren't really entirely sure which X-Men universe this is, I have temporarily designated it TRN 1399. Makes sense to me. Our next category is Home Dimension. This is for characters who exist within the main MCU universe, but they just reside in a different dimension. So that would be Mephisto and Dormammu. They live... I should set this to Mysk deities. They live in their own dimension. And then next up we have Cosmic Entities. These people all exist, and Miss Minutes because she's an AI, but she exists. So Alioth exists at the end of time. Death exists as a concept and as a personification. We know Aubrey Plaza portrays death, and therefore she exists. And then Miss Minutes is a villain. And then these are all the dead people. We have Aldrich Killian from Iron Man 3, Odin, Hela, Loki, all from Asgard. Then we have all these Avengers. These are all the dead Avengers, including Maria Hill and Phil Coulson. So we got Black Widow, Tony Stark, Steve Rogers. I'm fucking pissed he's back. We got T'Challa, Pietro Maximoff, and Phil Coulson, all dead Avengers. Then we got the Black Order, which is Thanos and his crew. We have Corvus Glaive. We have Ego the Living Planet from Guardians 2. He should be considered either a cosmic entity or a Elder of the Universe. But for some reason, they're calling him a Celestial. Even though Celestials all have a distinct look, this is what they all look like. And Galactus isn't one of them. And Ego isn't one of them. Ego's a living planet. He's an Elder or a cosmic entity. He shouldn't be a Celestial. That's my opinion. We got May and Foggy. This is the Shang-Chi villain, Dweller in Darkness, besides Shang-Chi's dad. Then we have Malekith and Curse from Dark World. We have all of these dead Eternals. Except for this is she's an Eye of Wakanda. I think she's one of the main characters in Eyes of Wakanda. We have a dead variant, the Fantastic Four universe, Johnny Storm, Chris Evans, Johnny Storm, not Michael B. Jordan, but it'd be cool to see him back. Villain of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Karli Morgenthau. We got Yondu, Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy. Arnim Zola and Alexander Pierce from Captain America and Captain America the Winter Soldier. Pierce is the guy played by Robert Redford, I want to say. He's the executive who turns out to be Hydra. This is the Marvel's main villain, Dar-Ben, who wants to take control of shit. Ronan the Accuser, obviously, Ancient One. Amit, who is the big alligator goddess in Moon Knight. Lot of characters you may recognize. Quentin Beck is Mysterio. He's dead. Ivan Vanko is Whiplash. Lilia Calderu is Patty Lupone's character in Agatha all along. Oh yeah, this is another multiverse designation. Temporary registration number 872. Who knows? It's before the comics have to establish what Earth everything is, before these Earths are officially designated. So whenever it's established in the comics which variants these all are and what Earth they're from, then that's what happens. That's what their universe number is. It's up to the comics. And you see we've reached the bottom. He Who Remains, aka Victor Timely. Zhu Wenwu, who is Shang-Chi's father. Darren Cross, who ends up... I put him as anti-hero because he was the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then he turned into MODOK and sort of got redeemed, so I put him as an anti-hero. So yeah, we have a lot of people here. Oh, I should sort by cosmic entities, because we've actually seen quite a few cosmic entities. Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night. He is a he has like multi-dimensional capabilities, and he can, I think in the comics he can shift through universes. Love is a cosmic entity. She's Thor's daughter, but she is an embodiment of eternity, who has granted Gore his wish and therefore will be love. So eternity is on Earth as love. But I should note that I take these as two separate beings. Great Protector is the big dragon at the bottom of the lake in Ta Lo in Shang-Chi, and fought the Dweller in Darkness. Galactus and Silver Surfer, I classify them as cosmic entities because Galactus, obviously, but then Silver Surfer comes from a real planet, but then her origin story is she's imbued with the power of cosmic awareness and silver skin by Galactus, and that makes her a cosmic entity. And then Uatu the Watcher, obviously. Alioth, obviously. Death, obviously. So yeah. So those are the cosmic entities, but now let's go over to this side. These are characters who either do or might exist in Marvel, but we just don't know anything about them. We know nothing about them. They might exist. And so let's go through them all. Let's start at the bottom. Marcus Milton. This guy is Hyperion. There's no reason to believe he's here. So moving on to Quasar. Again, there's no reason to believe. The only reason that they might be in here is because they're popular. They're popular comic book characters that have not been adapted, but people want them. Same for Squirrel Girl. But now we go on to the second tier, which was talked about by Marvel actors and executives. Names brought up. And that's it about them. So we have the Warriors 3, and it says here Kevin Feige was answering a question about whether they might get a film, and then Kevin Feige said there was a chance. So that's why this is what it is. Then Kevin Plunder. This is Khazar, who's like a Tarzan type of guy. And so Marvel considered a Khazar movie in 2010. And it's at the same time that they announced considering a Dazzler movie. And so we move on to the next rank, the God Yahweh. The God, like that one. Christian, Abrahamic God, Yahweh. A.K.A. God, A.K.A. Allah. And we'll get back to this later. Next we have Jericho Drum, a.k.a. Brother Voodoo. And there was a scrapped scene which would have introduced his brother. Scrapped brother. And so that's why this one is scrapped plans for a reference or implication, because there would have been a reference to Brother Voodoo, but it was scrapped. So now we have Clayton Cortez, And this is part of a broader series, so let's just get up here. See? We have a whole lot of implied to exist here. So, every single one of these is on this list for the exact same reason. In The Incredible Hulk, we see a brief glimpse of something called the Weapon Program. So let's take a look at Harry Pizer, aka the Skinless Man. Implied to exist due to the confirmation of the existence of the Weapon Plus program in The Incredible Hulk and Luke Cage. Harry Pizer is Weapon 3. We know that The Incredible Hulk has confirmed the existence of a Weapons Plus program. Weapon in the comics is what created Captain America. In this continuity, it's not. It was just the super soldier program. But in this continuity, we know something like that existed. And that actually created Luke Cage. Because in Luke Cage, there's a character who was a scientist who worked on the program. And that's how Luke Cage got his powers. So Brute Force, Harry Pizer, Skinless Man, Silas Burr, Cyber, Frank Simpson, Nuke, Super Soldier's team, Typhoid Mary, who is Kingpin ally, Huntsman, Laphantomex, Stepford Cuckoo, which is like a hive mind of quintuplets, Ultimaton, All God, which is not a character, it's a weapon that only kills religious people. Weird. This is, I forget his name, Dr. Mindbubble, Todd Ziller, who is the American Kaiju, Clayton Cortez, who is Weapon H. And then also Wolverine is implied, but he's already over here, and I don't really want to do variants. Anyway. So now we have all that, and we can move on to Kyra the Ultron. This is Scar's mother. Scar showed up at the end of She-Hulk, and this is his mother in the comics. Moving on to Jesus Christ of Nazareth. His appearance... He almost had an appearance in Omnipotent City in Thor Love and Thunder, but they scrapped it, which is why Yahweh is down here. Because the cancellation of Jesus' cameo implies that Yahweh, the god of the Abrahamic faith, may also exist. He would have been a sky god like Odin, which is like a god of people of Earth. And the one above all, who we'll talk about later, takes the spot of like the supreme and omnipotent deity. Like the god. Anyway, so we've covered Jesus Christ of Nazareth. Now let's go to Balder the Brave, who also had a scrapped cameo but this time in Multiverse of Madness. And Balder would have been played by Daniel Craig. But he also, I don't really know if this is true, but he had a statue somewhere in the universe. I didn't really look into it. But next up we have Power Pack. This is a team. It's a kids team. It's a team of kids. And they've had multiple scrapped projects for animated kids shows. And Feige has talked about wanting to do it. But that's why this one is directly canceled or cut. Like Blade. But not Blade in this category. Anyway, next up is Johnny Blaze, who is Ghost Rider. We know that Ghost Rider is in development. We don't know anything about it. But we know it's happening. So that's why this is here. Next up, we have a series of cosmic entities. So, cosmic entities. It's all these. A lot of these, like Oblivion, Stranger, Master Order, Lord Chaos, and the in-between, only exist because, duh. If there's cosmic entities, then there's all the cosmic entities. And so, I tried to list a bunch of them, but these guys are elders of the universe, and we already have two of those in the Collector and the Grandmaster, and these ones we haven't seen yet, the Champion of the Universe. We have the Runner, we have the Gardener, and we have the Obliterator. We also have other cosmic entities, like the Beyonder, and he exists beyond the multiverse. So he exists no matter what. But for whatever reason, he could just not exist because the writers say no. It's the same with the Phoenix Force. Jean Grey exists in the MCU, and we already have a movie called Dark Phoenix about that. And so they could do a Phoenix Force here. Galactus, who we've already seen in Fantastic Four, but not in the main MCU. He exists in every separate universe, though. The One Above All. This is God. This is the God. This is the supreme God of everything. Supreme omnipotent. Not like he is the equivalent of Abrahamic Yahweh. He's that. Next up, we have directly referenced within the MCU. They definitely do exist, but for whatever reason, they could just not. And so Darkcrawler was depicted by a statue on Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok. That's the same with Bybeast. That's the same with, where is he? Ares. It's the same with them. And Beta Ray Bill, of course. But we also have Brian Braddock, who is Captain Britain, mentioned in passing by Peggy Carter in Avengers Endgame. Miles Morales was directly referenced in Spider-Man Homecoming by Aaron Davis as my nephew. We have Entropy, who is depicted on a mural of the wall of the Temple of Morag and Guardians of the Galaxy. He's a cosmic entity. But he is directly referenced, so he's a tier higher. One Above All, not to be confused with this guy, One Above All was depicted by a statue at the Gates of Eternity at Love and Thunder. That very place where they go to see eternity. Those statues along the side, they depict stuff. So next we have Eon, who also has been depicted in that way. Infinity, who is also depicted there. Next we have Uncle Ben, stated to have lived and died in Spider-Man Homecoming. He had already lived and died before we met him. So he existed, but we've never seen him. Rick Jones. He's all but seen. He appeared on a list of Bruce Banner's contacts during the opening scenes of The Incredible Hulk. In The Avengers, Shield's notes on Bruce Banner detail that Jones was a teenager at the time, and that Banner had thrown him into a protective trench during a Gamma event, whatever that means. But he's A-Bomb. He's a Hulk sidekick. Stan Lee, we're in the next one, has appeared. These people are around. We know it. We've seen them. But we don't know anything else about them. Stan Lee. From what we can tell, he's just a guy. But he's everywhere, right? And because he's dead in real life now, we haven't seen him. But we don't know what's become of him. Unsubstantiated fan theory. Stan Lee could just be the One Above All. That could have been the One Above All manifesting as Stan Lee. The Venom symbiote. At the end of No Way Home, in the post-credits scene, when Eddie Brock was teleported back to his universe, a little bit of the Venom symbiote was left in the MCU. So, what do we do with that? I don't know. We've seen it once, and we've seen it never again. And we don't know if it's around still, or if it's been soaked into some mattress somewhere, or if it's been diluted by water, or however those things die. It's around, and we don't know. And next up is the only cosmic entity we've seen, besides Eternity, but we've seen the Living Tribunal. We know for sure it exists. It appeared in an alternate universe in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It was depicted by a statue at the Gates of Eternity in Thor: Love and Thunder, and it was depicted by a statue at the End of Time in Loki. 3 separate references. It could just be some executive's favorite entity, but there's only one of them across the multiverse. There's a supreme living tribunal, and we've seen it in its own home universe. We've seen it. It's somewhere. Scar is here for the same reason as Stan Lee or the Venom symbiote. He's Bruce Banner's son, and he's only appeared once, and he's never been mentioned since. We have no idea where he is. No idea. What's he up to? We know he's alive, but we don't know anything else. Aaron Davis only appeared once, but he's here because we don't know if he's the Prowler. Will he be the Prowler? Don't know. Appeared in a cameo in Spider-Man: Homecoming. It is unknown if he has or will take up the mantle of the Prowler. That's why he's here. He is Miles Morales' uncle. His Prowlerness was hinted at in a non-MCU film, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, when live-action Davis, played by Donald Glover, was spotted being imprisoned. Live-action Donald Glover Prowler was spotted in some sort of prison. And that's why that could be the MCU Prowler. Who knows? Howard the Duck. He has appeared exclusively through cameos. What's his deal? We don't know anything about him. He's here because we don't know if Howard the Duck in this universe is identical to Howard the Duck in his movie universe. Yeah. You dig? In his movie universe, he's a wisecracking talking duck. But this Howard the Duck could just be a fucking duck. He could just say quack. We don't know. And lastly, Eric Brooks as Blade. We know he's here. Not just because he had a canceled project, but if you recall correctly, think about the post-credits scene of Eternals. His voice, he speaks as Mahershala Ali speaks, and that's the only thing we've ever heard of him, and we don't know anything ever since then. So, I think he exists, but we don't know where. He's in a similar vein as Ghost Rider, but we don't know anything because Marvel refuses to have fun. But that's this whole spreadsheet. Hope you enjoyed it. I spent like 12 hours on this. And it's every character and a bunch of characters who might be in the Marvel Universe. Yeah.